Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans, and Olympic track and field fans.
That's right. It's the Olympics. We got to bring some energy.
Welcome to Talking in Ovals. How's everybody doing? I'm Alex. Dave's over there. What's going on, brother?
Day 5, buddy. Day 5. We are in the midst of it. It has been absolutely fantastic. Another great day today. We can get into it later. Your girl got disqualified. She got pulled back. She got second.
Nah.
Kipchoge,
It was interesting.
It was great. Listen, I mean, I say let them shove, push. I'm glad they brought her back. They push each other. They're just racing.
If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing, the old NASCAR phrase, which is used for distance running, right?
World record today. World record.
We got one. So I just want to jump in, get all the little stuff out of the way. Monday, August 5th, 2024. We made it to the century mark, Dave. We're at episode number 100. Whoever thought that a little podcast like us would get here? We are the little track engine that could, but we are here. If you like what you see, I think we're out of Facebook jail because I thought I saw a view there. So sorry, Facebook, that we did fair use at providing commentary over NBC things, but NBC is a big juggernaut and they're mad at little shows like us for playing their live stream while we did our thing. So we're back. We're here. If you like what you see, YouTube, X, Facebook, give us a follow, subscribe, like, all that. Go find us on the socials at The Alex Cuesta Show and spread this word about
Talking in Ovals.
Talking in Ovals. Jesus, what is wrong with me? I'm on the wrong show. It's all about me. Everything's about me, damn it. No, Talking in Ovals. That's where we are. So I want to quickly, before we get going, our normal thing, third annual River Rock and Run 5K, our buddy Adam Nalvin putting it on again, November 16th. That is a Saturday, new and improved 5K. You can either run solo, you can be a team, do 1.5 miles each. Great post-race food. 100% of the proceeds go to fulfill Mom at the Notion Food Bank right in time for Thanksgiving. Have a beer. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time there. And last week's show, we had fun. That was 99. Dave Ross of Ross Running News. God, we had so much fun.
We did.
Just yik-yakking and talking running and all the experiences that Dave has had. If
you can't have fun doing a track and field podcast at this time of year, then just get rid of your track and field podcast. I have been an absolute crazy man going on.
And it's been great.
Giving updates every day. And do I care if anyone watches it? I don't. I love doing it. And
but we do have people watching.
I am an Olympic nerd. This is to me, the first week was just prelims. There were great warm-ups. Now we are in the thick of it. And I love it. And
screw gymnastics, screw basketball, screw swimming, screw everyone else, screw that Turkish dude that decides to just double eyeball with a revolver and just
gangster.
Oh my God, and give him back his cat ex-wife. Damn it. Anyway, so I'm gonna bring in our guest because this is someone that I feel like we shortchanged last time. We did a whole TrackStar.me series where we had 7 athletes coming on that were Olympic hopefuls. And he was the only one that didn't get a live stream. And it wasn't by intention. It's just Dave and I were just kind of like, we don't want to show our ugly mugs. We didn't have a setup. We got it set up, but I'm happy we could rectify it.
Yeah.
He is the 2024 Olympic Trials bronze medalist in the men's hammer throw. He is Justin Stafford. What's going on, brother?
Dave, Alex, thank you guys for having me. Always appreciate it. And thank you and any of the listeners who contributed to the TrackStar.me crowd fundraiser. Was a huge help and huge success. So Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome. We're happy to have you as the guy on for this entry mark, though, because honestly, I had such a freaking blast talking to you last time. And you're just, you were not there, but you finally get the chance to talk to him. But you're such a fun, charismatic dude. I think you're great for the hammer. You're great for throwers because, like, you throwers have such a different personality. And a lot of the times, you guys are just back old country boys that were throwing hay over your shoulders. So it's like you guys are like, oh, we're just throwing things that are lighter and smaller now. So it's like you have that fun personality.
I fully expect to see all of them over in Scotland doing the freaking saber toss in about 5 years.
Stay tuned. You never know.
So I want to jump in right away with you because, you took third at the Olympic trials. Now, for those that don't understand, typically top 3 go to the Olympics. But if you don't have the Olympic standard, you have to fall on the world rankings. Now, you did something incredible. You PR'd almost every freaking throw, dude. So I want to jump right into that.
Yeah, I want to get the whole mind frame, the whole preparation.
What was that like? Because you came in on fire. Like all season, I remember getting updates from you. Like you were texting me or shooting me Instagram things like, hey, just do this. And we were calling out your PRs as much as you were giving them to us. And like, just do this, just do it. You were inching closer. You were at like 74, blah, blah, blah. You were just PRing. And then it's kind of like we get in there and we've interviewed you. We interviewed Jordan Geist. We interviewed Tanner Berg. So we have a few of you guys in there. And I remember, I'm not going to lie, Justin, I truly barely watched freaking Hammer, okay?
I did.
Field events. I'm a thrower. This time around, though,
I got you, Justin.
Freaking glued because I'm like, the real boys are up there throwing, and I want to see it.
It's amazing how much more invested you are when you meet people like yourself and like any guest that we've had on. You feel like they're like part of your family, and you're like rooting. You got the pom poms out. Like it's unreal. It's the coolest thing. And if this podcast has just given me that, it's been worth it.
I was telling my kids too. I was like, "Hey, see that guy? He was on my show, and then you went and just throw a PR, and like you're yoked up." And I'm like, "Look at him go!" Like we were just like pumped. I had my kids cheering. Like it was so much fun. So, like Dave said, I want you to go through Olympic trials from getting there. I want to talk about how USATF set you guys up as throwers because every thrower we talk to, it's like, "Hey, go in a corner, do what you do, talk to your one official, and enjoy life." So what was the experience like? How was USATF treating you guys as, the best throwers in the country? And just the experience of, it seems like you were on cloud 9, just doing no wrong. So what was your Olympic trials experience like?
So Olympic trials experience to start, you mentioned USATF. I think they did actually a fantastic job for Olympic trials. Just getting in. Yes.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yes.
And just getting into Eugene, this was probably the easiest year I've had at nationals of just going through credentialing, having access to everything. They did a really good job. And so kudos to USATF.
It's good to hear.
And, they sent an email, I think about a week or two before trials started that they had, I believe, a 10% prize money increase. So that was great. And then additionally, they said that they were going to reimburse top 8 at Olympic trials for travel up to about $2,000 to $2,200. So
great.
That's fantastic, right?
Good job, USATF.
Yes.
We destroy them, rightfully so, for certain things. But when they do things right,
I'm going to give you your flowers.
Absolutely. Great job.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely a great start to the lead up to Eugene. And then from there, it's kind of just business as usual. And so I had been preparing the entire year for this one meet. We get in. I am in the best place possible, physically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, just ready to rock. And just, hey, I've been visualizing and preparing for this competition since 2021 when I missed out on making the final by 6 centimeters.
Ooh.
So, no lack in motivation, and the moment was coming up. And I had a countdown leading up to the year of like, all right, here's the day. And then, it was pretty cool when we get to fast forward to Olympic trials prelim. And I check my phone when I wake up and it was like, all right, 2 days to becoming an Olympian. I was like, all right, we're just following the plan. The countdown continues, one step at a time. So that follow routines and everything. We get to competition, we get to the competition tent. I see all the guys, and for me, hey, this was my 5th USATF championship or USA National Track and Field Championships.
Yeah.
And so, I know everybody. I kind of know the lay of the land and how the process goes with going into the different tents, getting walked out, all that. I'm just so grateful and excited that it's finally here. And, going through a lot of sacrifices the last several years, tons of inflation in Southern California, job things like that. Moving to Kansas where it gets to like -1, I feel like it's -20 in January, and just all this craziness. Like, you know what? It's worth it. It's going to pay off. It's going to happen. So get to the competition, and warm-ups went better than expected. So I was like, cool, let's do this. I know I'm in shape to throw well. And then second throw, PR, and just to see, okay, Justin Stafford, first place Olympic trials. That was a nice feeling, a good sight to see. And hey, let's keep this.
Yeah.
So that was my second throw. And my coach says, hey, all right, you need to throw well this next throw because you need as many points as possible. And we'll get to that. And so from there, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to freaking send it. And I rushed it, was not as far. I was like, oh, that's a missed opportunity. Anyway, all right, I'm in second place going into the final. Hey, great place to be. And again, we just follow routines, follow what my coach tells me to do, execute everything to a T. I could not even look at my breakfast Sunday morning, the day of the Olympic trials final. I just couldn't do it. Could not do it. I was like, I'm a puke. It's just, I got all everything. Funny enough, though, lunch, Chipotle, and shout out to Chipotle, and definitely interested in working. I had the same order for about 5 days in a row, and the day of the final, I just devoured that thing, like instantly. And so I was like, I could not look at my breakfast, but lunch gone instantly. I was like, all right, you know what? Forget it.
The beauty of being a thrower. The beauty of being a thrower.
And so, anyway, ready to roll. End up walking in with a friend of mine who actually made the Tokyo team, and so I just took that as a good omen. Hey, we're walking in. This is going to be a good day, and I just execute what I need to do. Work with my coach. Shout out to my coach, Greg Watson. He's the man, really, and he was able to have a good game plan, and we talked about it for a long time. We executed the game plan, and what a great feeling to compete at the Olympic. What a privilege, first of all, to even be able to compete in the Olympic trials final, and then to have PR'd twice and 3 times total throughout the 2 days.
Crazy.
And to qualify, like you were top 3.
Yeah.
That's
it was awesome. Like so second throw was a small PR, and again, so much respect to all the competitors. Jordan threw 2 huge PRs.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
2 huge PRs. And we're going to say every PR, no matter what the size was, is a huge PR because you're doing it at the Olympic trials final.
And that's when you're supposed to do it. That's when you want to come out and do your best. So it's kind of like, as lame as it is, if you went out and you do a PR, you got to hold your head up high, right? Because you quite literally did everything in your power at that time. So there's nothing to be ashamed of with that.
Absolutely. And really, too, a lot of kudos to Jordan for just going big on the first throw, really setting the tone for everybody. That was pretty awesome. And so the competition goes on, and, I throw a little PR, my second throw, and then my third throw, okay, I need to make a certain technical adjustment. I know I did that in my third throw, release it. It felt like it was going to be pretty good. And, I'm walking back to the tent just to cool down after that throw. And while I'm walking to the tent, I see my dad in the crowd next to John Kolich, who is kind of the founder of the South Bay Athletic Club, whom I represent. And also shout out South Bay Athletic Club. Fantastic. They're going to be actually hosting a lot of throws events. And I think the warm-up area for LA 2028.
Nice.
Anyway, I see him and my dad in the stands, and at the exact moment that I lock eyes with them, the scoreboard shows the PR result, and the crowd goes wild. And talk about a huge adrenaline rush, that every athlete would love to experience. So to have that was awesome. And at the same time, you have to be, okay, you're on a little bit of a high. You have to go back to zero because you have to dial in, because the competition's not over until the competition is over, as you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
I did not execute the rest of the meet very well. I knew I was in shape to throw the Olympic standard of 78.20, and I just knew I was. It didn't happen. And so competition ends, and what an incredible experience of just seeing, okay, my name next to top 3, at the Olympic trials final.
You're standing on the medal podium at the Olympic freaking trials. Like that's childhood dreams there. Like that's was it everything that you envisioned it would be when you dreamt it?
It was and more. And I'll say that because at the final, 2 United States hammer throw really legends. Lance Deal, who's a 1996 Olympic silver medalist.
Greatest ever.
Boy Johnson, two-time Olympian, and a mentor for many of today's throwers. They're both sitting on the left side of the cage. And so I remember going into my warm-ups and seeing them and just thinking in my head, like, I'm about to make the Olympic team in front of my heroes right now. Yeah. And so to see them afterward and, we're shaking hands, I get to see Ken Flax, who's another United States Olympic hammer legend, who also helps tremendously with the USATF Foundation, who does amazing, incredible work for athletes to help with funding that can help with training and everything that goes into that. So, incredibly thankful for the USATF Foundation. Getting to meet all those guys on that stage and finally being in a position of, okay, now I can walk through the tunnel into the stadium. And, they put the medal around your neck before you walk into the stadium, funny enough. And we thought they were the legit medals. And so I'll get back to that in a little bit. So we get escorted down the tunnel, and the crowd is just going nuts for both Daniel, Rudy, and I, and the events going on. And we walk into kind of the main area or the main part of the track in front of the Paris Eiffel Tower, mock-up tower. And Dawn Harper Nelson is there, who, Olympic gold medalist in 2008, I think Olympic silver in 2012, and UCLA legend. I run into her, and I never met her before, but I follow her on Instagram basically the entire year. And she did this whole series to gold on Instagram Reels and just giving advice for all the athletes. And I told her, it was the coolest thing. I got to tell her, Dawn, I followed your advice to a T, and now I'm here talking with you today.
That's awesome.
And I mean, so it sounds like your experience was absolutely cloud nine, right? Like you went in, you executed, you did the game plan. So now you're sitting there, and obviously you're sharing this time with Daniel and Rudy, right? You guys, as much as you guys are fierce competitors, you guys see each other at every major competition. You've obviously probably have, if not a friendly relationship, at least a rapport, respect with each other, yes. Right? So,
and Rudy is a Rutgers.
Rudy's a Rutgers guy. So
I mean, got it. My little alma mater there.
You and your alma mater. So I also want to go through. So now like you obviously didn't throw the standard, right? You knew you could have, but you didn't. What was it like having a conversation with those two who did have the standard? Were you kind of talking with them, trying to figure out if you're going to be with them? Were they reassuring you, like, hey man, I think you did enough. You did this and that. What was that like in terms of the conversation about your performance? Because obviously everyone was there, and I'd imagine you possibly inspired some other guys like, hey, Justin's really stepping his game up. We got to step our game up, right? So what was that like talking to them about the experience? And was that even something that came up, like, you're going to be with us or that type of stuff? How was that?
Yeah. So, I mean, Rudy and Daniel, both great guys. We've all competed with each other throughout the years, and same with really the entire United States men's hammer. And there's so many guys that are elite, and we're probably definitively the deepest country in the world now.
Which is crazy to think how far that's come, right? Yeah, considering it was like, what, you had maybe one guy here that would threaten. Now there's
Lance Steele, and then it was like,
oh, hey, what up?
Lance Steele.
It got so bright. Now we could see you better. But yeah, so now it's like it is really deep, and that competition was pretty damn fierce. Like you guys were all locked in. So in terms of just like now you're on the podium, you guys are trying to, like, obviously those two are going. Who were you talking to trying to figure out where your world ranking would be? How were you trying, like, what, so, let's not skip to that. Let's continue with just the emotions. We'll get to world ranking system. Yep. Keep on your emotions. Now you're talking to your coach, you're talking to your family. What was that night like? Did you have a decision like Grant Fisher? Were you going to go out and freaking party your face off? What was that night like just after getting bronze?
So that was really incredible, and started off with a little medal show that USATF put on. That was pretty cool with Daniel and Rudy, and again, getting interviewed by Dawn and another member of Tracktown USA, I believe. And going back to how I mentioned that they gave us medals after the competition, so it turns out those are fake medals, right. And they want you to take pictures like biting on the medal and everything. And then they say, okay, here, we're going to take that back and I'll give you your actual medal. So some people were joking that, like, are we all just biting onto the same medal? Like, we don't know.
I hope they at least like take a Clorox wipe to it. Like, come on.
I would also. We were told this after the fact, and we're like, wait a minute, so now this is our actual one? So anyway.
So where were the veterans there to help you guys out? Like, hey guys, don't bite that thing. Just don't do it. Just don't like where were some of the veterans?
I would bite the hell out of that metal. I don't care whose mouth it was.
And honestly, if I was a veteran, I'd probably look and go, ha, rookie, bite that metal. Go get the hepatitis, you moron.
So, question.
Okay.
Where is the medal?
Uh-huh.
Is it like, do you have a spot for it yet? Is there going to be like its own little shrine, or are you just kind of one of those people that's like, I expected it to happen, no big deal? Because me, that thing would be like, I'd have copies of it.
He threw it onto his bed. It slid to the back. He hasn't looked at it since.
I would have wallpaper. I'd have wallpaper made with the picture of that medal and hang it all over my house.
It may or may not be in my backpack that I brought to practice today, and I do have it. I know where it is.
Nice.
If this shows video, I can grab it real quick.
It is video. You're live streaming right now. You're live. Also, so
I'm walking off a live stream.
So, question, real quick, Justin, on the live stream. If you have any headphones, throw it in because we have a minor echo. If you do have headphones, go grab those too. If not, I don't care. We still love to see your pretty face.
Okay. I will be right back and grab it for the live stream.
If you grab a gold medal, it's worth everything.
Bronze medal.
Any medal.
So
any medal.
So as we could see here, guys, Justin's freaking awesome. Dave, I hope you're seeing that.
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't had a chance to go back and listen to the episode that what I did with Justin, it was lots of fun of, him just talking about his experience at UCLA. And here it is. Here's the bronze medal.
Silence.
Olympic. Looks like you're a really sick medal. That's a cool looking medal. Some medals are lame. That is not a lame medal at all.
Dude, that's
shout out to
USA.
These are really
wow. That is.
How heavy is it?
I gotta use both hands. It's pretty heavy.
So if you took it by the string and like whirled it around, would it feel like a hammer? Like could you do that? Just go like sit there and be like, I'm hammer throwing this bronze. It didn't make me to the.
We go pretty far. Also, so going back to the last episode. So you mentioned a good idea that you spoke to with, I believe, both Jordan and I about, hey, let's say hypothetical, we're on TikTok or Instagram and we just go up to random people and ask if we can just grab stuff.
Just launch their stuff.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but Tracks on USA and NBC got Terry Crews.
Yes.
Throw the hammer.
So I did not get to meet Terry, but I'm talking with Jordan in the warm-ups leading in on day one, and we're like, all right, I think we have our first episode idea locked in. Like we're gonna just take Terry into it.
Were you guys talking about our show?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, we were talked about at the Olympic trials. That is the end all. That's freaking sick. Let's go. Was it a good conversation? Like those guys are idiots, or was it a good?
No, we're brainstorming. We're like, hey, we're gonna help grow the show. We're gonna build the sport. It's gonna be fantastic.
Listen, just seeing you guys on screen awesome. And, Jordan, Tanner, anyone from the Trackstar.me series, if you're watching this, number one, you're all always welcome back on. That's first and foremost. Number two, I just want to go out there, Justin, to you and to anybody that we had. Jordan wasn't a part of that series, but we interviewed him before all that went on. But all of you guys that participated at trials, we are incredibly proud of the way you guys worked your asses off. You guys, like, honestly, I was beaming with pride every time I had the opportunity to be like, hey, watch Olympic trials. So-and-so was on our show. And then you guys went out there and put on a show between, and especially like you getting the bronze, Capers getting the silver over in the javelin with the fantastic throw, and everyone that competed, Jordan coming so freaking close in both the hammer and the shot. Like
Elena was great.
Elena right there with the discus, Hope working her ass off in the hep. Like we could not have asked for more than out of you guys and the way you guys worked. And we truly appreciate any of you guys taking the time to come on this show. Like it's fantastic.
Hey, thank you guys. It's a good time. And also too, thank you guys for what you do, because you do allow us to share our stories, become more relatable, personable to the average fan. And you're so right. It makes Olympic trials so much more engaging because the story, the work that's been put in, by these individuals. And it's just, hey, you have your people you want to root for because you relate to them, or you just, their story. And I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I had a few people text me, be like, "Oh, I remember, wasn't that person on your show? I'm gonna root for them."
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
Yeah.
And I want to,
and not that, like Eric Holt gets sponsored.
I was so happy for Eric Holt
trials.
deal right there. I was because to be honest, I hadn't met him or really followed anything about him until I listened to the episode on Talking in Ovals. So pretty cool.
There we go. That is really cool. So I do want to throw one thing in because you talked about how, talking to you guys and getting your stories that made you guys more personable. And this is one thing that irked me and about the trials. Watching the repechage, which is a whole other conversation, but Allie Wilson in the repechage, and then they're talking about it, and it's a throw-in. Oh, before trials, Allie had to be a nanny, and then it was so nice that her family was okay with her going away, and now they're all here in Paris. And it's like, wait a minute. You heard a problem with that statement? A pro athlete at the Olympics had to be a nanny before trials and making the Paris Games.
I know.
Why is that a throwaway? Why isn't it, hey, that incredibly fast and talented woman right there could not do her sport 24/7 because that sport is not equipped enough to give her the ability to do that. That should be the conversation. Not, isn't that cute? She was a nanny. Right. No, it's not cute. It is not cute at all. Like, it pisses me off that people like yourself, that people like Allie are sitting there going, look at the great thing we did. And I'm pumped that you got a bronze because you finally got some more money, right? It gave you an opportunity, even though it's probably not a ton comparative to other pros. But now at least you're not sitting there going, man, where's my next meal? Am I going to eat or train this week? And that's a huge step. But to me, that's bothersome that that's supposed to be this cute, relatable story. It's like, I'm sorry. I should not be able to relate to my pro athletes. Right. I should be sitting there talking to Justin Stafford in his freaking penthouse as he's just like, yeah, I got a bronze, but I still have everything in me. I can go train tomorrow in the greatest facilities. Like, there should be no reason why we have these stories, right? This show, for all intents and purposes, I don't want it to exist in a few years in the way that it is. I want it to exist. I want to continue doing it, but not in the way that it is, where we are begging, fighting, and scratching as much for for us to get big, because I would love that, but for you guys more than anything. So, that was my bone to pick. And as much as I love hearing all your stories, I freaking hate the fact that they're there. So, but I mean, I digress. That was just me on my little soapbox. I'll step down now.
It is the reality of the moment for several extremely high level track and field athletes.
Yeah. Including yourself. You are the third best hammer thrower in the freaking country. One of the best hammer throwers in the world, including yourself. Like, you can't, like, as much as you're humble and you probably don't want to say that, we will say it for you. we will happily say it for you.
So you got your medal.
Yeah.
You're out partying or whatever it is that you're doing.
He's a thrower. They're partying. He's a thrower. They were partying.
I hope so.
I wanted to, but I'll get to it.
It's so. At what point was it like, all right, at some point, one of us is going to have to start doing some kind of math here and trying to feel like who was doing the math? Was it like a team thing? And like, how do you go about figuring out that whole process? Is there some sort of equation, or is it just like, because Alex and I kept texting like, it's gonna be close. Like, come on, Justin, between you and Caper, like,
we were pretty damn sure that you got in. We thought you had it, and we're sitting there, we're looking, we're like, Caper's probably on the outside looking, and he was a little further away from the world ranking, from the standard. We didn't know he was going to be able to jump that much, but we were looking at where you sat, looking at what you did, looking at the actual. I didn't know the point system, and that they probably do an equation that they change yearly, but I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything. But we were looking at it, and I even Darren Peters had a whole entire page where he dedicated to who he thought was going to get. He had you, for the most part, in.
He even popped on our show on the chat. Was like,
oh, really?
He did not. He didn't come on, but he was in the chat. He was in the chat saying that. Yeah.
He's like, I think Justin's in, Capers is not. So at that point, and then he's like, maybe not. It's closer. So what was that like, and what the hell is the process?
Please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If you even know. I mean, it's so complex.
So I have definitely learned a lot, especially in the early weeks of July after the competition window closed July 1st, and then I have to wait an entire week to find out if I make it. To backtrack a little bit, So in the beginning of the year, as you guys know, I moved from California to Kansas, and I'm working with Coach Watson, and who has experience of, developing and working with high level athletes. Janae Casanavoy just medaled at the 2022-2023 World Championships. He's had a few Olympians, and he is very familiar with the process. And so we had a conversation earlier in the year where he was asking, "Hey, what's your world ranking?" And so I told him, "I think it's about 70." And so he's like, "Can you pull it up?" I was like, "Sure." And so I pull up the distance ranking on World Athletics. Justin, this does not matter at all. What is your world ranking? What do you mean? And so I go to the world ranking list on World Athletics. Again, this was, I think, sometime in the fall or early winter. And I keep scrolling, and I'm like, why is my name not on the list? My name wasn't on the list. And the reason why is because in 2023, the only ranked competition I competed in was the 2023 USA Championships.
Wow.
And the last comp before that was 2022 USA's, and then the Mount Sac Golden Games, the 2022. So 3 meets in 2 years, that's basically outside of qualifying for a world ranking.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have one. And so, my second meet of the season was the Throwtown Series at Ramona, Oklahoma. That was a bronze World Athletics meet. And so, okay, there's 4. And now I'm pretty sure then like the world ranking kind of comes up. And I actually I had to email World Athletics, I think in March or February, of just, hey, I've thrown this distance. It would equate to this amount of just distance points. Can you guys put me on the list? And they actually got back to me very fast. And then my world ranking, I think, was like in the 90s maybe.
But you were on the list, and that's what matters.
I was on the list, so hey, that's great. And so from there, it was like, okay, I need to get into as many ranked competitions as possible. This was Coach Watson's plan as well when I was talking with him about moving over. And it's like, hey, like the distances I'm throwing now, I cannot be competing in these, meets, down the street. Like I have to be in ranked
continental tour points and things like that.
Continental tour points, yes, exactly. And so, I finally had a technical breakthrough at the Ironwood Classic, and that was June 1st, through basically a 2.5 meter PR, 75.90.
Wow.
And so that meet, it was a C-ranked meet. And for those who may not be familiar with how the Continental Tour works, there are competitions ranked A through F, and there's also there's GW, OW, I think for like Olympic Games, GWB for like the LA Grand Prix, New York Grand Prix. And so you only want to compete in those meets that are either OW, GW, or A through C, because those have the most points. Everything else is going to be D, E, or F.
So quickly, we actually have something set up like a Grand Slam system then, right? Like your GWs would be considered kind of what the rankings would be like a Grand Slam in like a tennis or like something like that, or a golf, like a major.
Bigger meets.
Which is crazy that they're not promoted that way. Like, why aren't they promoting it as a, hey, this is a GW world ranking meet. This is, you would, like, there should be something special about winning or placing. And there is, we place more emphasis on them here, but it's kind of like, even Dave and I, like, I know LA and New York are important, but it's just because they're promoted better, right? They don't put this out there that like, hey, this is like a major. This is like, we know the Diamond Leagues are big, right? Because of how $1 million at the end, get good prize money. But they should, again, this is part of the promotion, which you had to figure this out as a freaking pro athlete, which is bizarre, right? There should be something that, where's the seminar for college kids turning pro? Where is the seminar? Where is the explanations? And I love that we're getting this from you.
Every other sport has some sort of rookie and like symposium or something.
So they're letting you flounder. They are letting you flounder and throwing in these meets that don't actually count.
And they don't tell you.
And they don't tell you. Right. So I think that's insane.
I'm going to some pro meet and it doesn't mean crap. You're better off going to some high school meet,
And that was part of my problem being my first few years post-collegiately where, sure, I didn't throw as far as I would have liked to out of college, throwing 68.57, which is, it's respectable for a college athlete. It's not really like world-class respectable. And so,
but it wasn't that you were throwing 68 in the wrong meets.
Well, not necessarily, because I was not aware of how the system really worked.
Yeah.
And, I just decided, hey, I would regret it forever if I quit at the time. So I'm like, hey, I'm just going to keep competing. But I competed in all these meets that were like F-ranked meets. Right. So they count for World Athletics, so you can throw a really far distance. However, you're only going to get maybe like a plus 15 in points. And the advantage of throwing in these bigger meets is that you can get potentially 200.
So here's a question, really quick. Where do you find this out? Is there a website to go to figure this out? Or was this okay? Because I would love to. I want to do a live where we can sit there and bring it up and break it down for any aspiring pro athlete like yourself, so that you're not sitting there getting out of college going, I'm a pro, I'm going to go to this meet that has pros in it. And nothing wrong with these meets, right? Like those meets are maybe good for developmental. Like maybe you needed those meets anyway. You were throwing 68. Maybe you needed those just to get your feet wet. But when you got more serious, the fact that you still didn't know as you were eclipsing 70, 71, 72, 73, and now you're sitting there looking around going, I can compete with these guys. But why aren't I competing with them? You know what I mean? Like, it's a little like, so after the show, I would love to have you kind of point out where we can go, because I would love to do a live stream to explain that for other pro athletes trying to do what you do.
Like you said, like every other sport has some sort of.
We'll be that rookie symposium, damn it.
Yes.
All right, you just signed your contract. You're going to go on talking in Nobles next week to find out.
Go to this live stream talking in Nobles. Here's your tutorial.
They will branch out your whole career for you. Don't you worry.
So like in 2023, I really wasn't able to, because of my job at the time was just, it was very intensive. And, hey, I'm not going to just work a job and not be good at it. I'm going to be good at the job. That just had some sacrifices where, hey, I know I wasn't able to be in shape to compete in those ranked competitions at a high level. Yeah. So I made that choice to save it kind of for USA, have more PTO and just save that for Eugene. But this year now, I was like, okay, it's an Olympic year. I'm still a younger guy. I would look back with regret if I just didn't go all in for an Olympic year. And so anyway, I had more opportunities to travel to some of these meets that were ranked. And so anyway, fast forward back again to the Ironwood Classic, June 1st, I throw 75.90. Hey, that's more of a respectable mark internationally. That's going to open some doors. The issue, though, is that, another high level coach came up to me and they're like, hey, are you going to the New York Grand Prix? And so I said, I would love to. I'm not signed up. And for those meets, too, it's kind of more so of if you're not throwing a big mark, you kind of just need an invite or an agent to just kind of open that door for you. And so at the time, I didn't have that. I knew I would perform well there. So some people who are high up in USATF and other places were kind enough to, speak on my behalf of, hey, can we get Justin in this meet? I think he would. Awesome. So that was absolutely massive. And, thank you to those individuals. And I'm told that the field was already filled. And so obviously, hey, that's not fair to, have other people not get that opportunity that they're already slated to perform at. And so for World Athletics, I guess for those New York and LA Grand Prix meets, it's slated, I think, 8 spots and they can't go over. So they had it filled. It is what it is. And by that point too, I just knew in my training, hey, I know things are leading up to a point where I fully believe that I would be able to hit the Olympic standard on the day at the Olympic trials final. Obviously that's a big ask. I just believed I could do it and I got close. But ultimately I didn't do it. And so the entire time with the medal ceremony and going through all this stuff, I had it in the back of my head, hey, this is not legit yet, if it will be. Right. And so I'm going through interviews and, in that moment, I just want to go with the flow of everything. And so, I'm so grateful that there were so many people very excited for me and, hey, he's going to Paris. And so it's kind of like in the back of my head again, I don't know if I am, but I'm just going to, enjoy the moment. I've worked very hard to get to this point.
I know I congratulated you. I was pretty convinced that you were going. I remember sending you like, hey, awesome job, man. Pumped for you. Like we were
so bummed, man. Like,
thank you. Yeah. And I mean, people were saying, they're like, oh yeah, you're in, it's no problem. Other people said no. My coach, so you mentioned like who's doing the math. So after getting to go through drug testing and team processing where you get to, wear all the gear. And I remember I got out of that. Oh, what? Sorry, what was that?
That's a great way to end the meet.
Oh, it was incredible. And so, getting to wear every piece of clothing and just getting to just make the most of that time in the room and, hanging with some college friends who've made several teams and, just enjoying the experience. And I get out of I go get a burger real quick at the Graduate Hotel. And I'm sitting with my parents and my coach and a family friend, and my coach is doing napkin math. And he's like, it's going to be close. I'm not going to, say you're good. I'm just not going to do it. And so I was like, okay, hey, I really appreciate, realistic on honest
The
feedback.
honesty, yeah.
Yeah. And again, just that entire week of just going back and forth and people messaging me, oh, you're in. And ultimately, they did not count competition points for the Olympic trials prelims, which makes sense because the only meet that matters is the final. And so, the one thing that
would New York have mattered if you had gotten in? Do you think?
I would, if I had just had a legal throw in New York that was decently competitive, I would be in no problem, most likely. I don't want to say officially, but most likely. There are some other meets that I just did not get into this year based on my PR in the beginning of the season.
Good for you to not say I should have taken someone's spot. Like, good for you to keep the just honesty and the integrity, because
everyone works so hard.
Anything, like once you lose that, then what do you have?
So here's a question kind of going future. Is it nice to know that for these next 4 years, though, there probably isn't a meet that you can't get into with your current PR, with your current performance? Like, are you kind of wearing that as like, not in like a cocky way, but you're going to be the person that they're going to be calling going, hey, are you available for LA? Are you available for New York? Like, I mean, but you're obviously going to have to advocate for yourself because it is track and field, right? So you're going to have to be making those phone calls, but there's going to be less of, we have the 73 guy calling. Now it's no. We have the bronze medalist, 70, 77, right off the mark. Like,
bronze medalist,
bronze medalist, like he wants to come to our meet. Yeah, cool. Let's have him throw. Let's have him rematch against Rudy. Daniel's coming to this meet. It'd be great to let him go against each other again. Like, just to like, it's got to be nice to know that now, I just looked it up. Right now, you're 39th in the world ranking. So, like, you're top 40 in the world. So, it's like you're going to have that ability to at least look at more of these, like, A and B meets and where it's like, oh, yeah, Justin wants to come in. Yeah, we definitely have a slot for you. Like, is that kind of a better feeling knowing that coming up to the next Olympics in LA, you have that opportunity to really build those points up?
Knowing that not all of this was
for nothing.
Absolutely.
Like that, that you gained so much by even going through, even though you didn't get the actual end prize, you've gained so much to set you up that this will never be a problem ever again.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's definitely
silver lining.
That's what I'm very excited for that. As you guys know, hey, it's track and field. It's very cutthroat, and it really is a year by year basis. And I saw that so much more so after trials of how real that is and the real implications of that for a lot of people. And, you have to do the best you can and make sure that you have your I's dotted, your T's crossed, because again, it's so cutthroat. It's so competitive. You have to, you stay in your lane. And yeah, I mean, obviously I'm very excited that now I have a better opportunity to get in more ranked competitions. And I know that is going to help. I just have to keep following the game plan, stay healthy, and just enjoy everything.
Yeah. And not that you would want this to be the case, but I mean, I would think just logically after 3 straight years of worlds and Olympics that some athletes maybe next year might. So if you keep that same mentality that you had this year, you might get a break. It's not because some athletes might say, I'm just going to chill this year. So you won't, obviously, because you're cutthroat and you're a go-getter. So you're going to go at it. So that might be able to like use any advantage they can get. It's all there. For you.
Yeah, and you never know with track. There are zero guarantees. The only guarantee is that there is no guarantees on anything.
So I do want to say this to you because you are a nice guy, but God, now that you have that 77 in your back pocket, you got to be a little bit of an asshole, right? You have to sit there and go, and when you call, no, absolutely, no. Anyway, no, stop, not to the athletes, right? But when it comes to getting into meets, you need to sit there and be like, I want to be in that meet. Get me in that meet. To the point where before, when you were more of like the guy, like you said, on the borderline of an elite thrower, like I'm not completely a world, but I know I can be type of thing, where you were kind of like, I guess, sure, I won't. Now it's going to be like, no, I want to be in that meet. Figure out a way to get me in that meet. I mean, like I said, you're a nice guy, so I can't see you, but you got to, I feel like at this point now, like you got to kind of kick some doors in. Because you already did with your performance.
He's a nice guy, but he's not one of those nice guys that finishes last. That you don't want to piss him off. Like you're a guy, but he's going to compete and he's going to go for it.
So when it comes to the ranking system, obviously your coach did the math. Can you give us a simple version of what that math is, if you know it? Yes, and also, so give us a simple version of the math.
So the simple version of the math is your result in competition will equate to a certain amount of points, and I cannot do the math off the top of my head on that. You can look; there are resources.
It's like decathlon points.
Yes. So it's kind of like that. So
Based upon the world record.
you have your event score. So however far you threw, however fast you ran, however high you jumped. Then you have your event, like your competition quality bonus points, essentially. So again, that goes back to the OW, GOW, A, B, and C have more points than say a D or an E or an F. And so it's very important that you compete well at these higher ranking points meets.
Right.
And so there is this is me just talking on a podcast. I can't confirm this or not. I do know that the USA Olympic Trials final is a B ranked meet, and a lot of people are talking. We're like, why is it not an A ranked?
How is that B? How's that OW?
Wait, the hardest team to make is a B ranked meet. But so I would imagine like your diamond leagues would be considered your A's. I'd imagine like that's probably like the echelon that they're looking at.
Yeah. So there's
diamond
that.
League's bigger than the trials. I guess because it's worldwide. I guess it's
Maybe.
I guess, yeah. I think it's in
one country, so that there's not enough athletes to encompass world rankings.
Yeah, and so World Athletics on the website, you go through rankings and you can look up all this information because they do say that national championships are a B-ranked competition, probably because it is only national. And like LA and New York, they attract international talent, so it has more points.
Gotcha.
And so, like for example, I
could see that then.
It's got to take it country by country though, because America's different than like Venezuela. Like, all right, like I'm not gonna. Yes, you absolutely can. Yes, you can. Look at world team performances. Look at the PRs as compared. Like, don't get me wrong. You could do all this math of your world rankings, but you can't split. Like, okay, America and certain countries, China, like your countries that are constant heavy medal winners. Yes, you're A rank. Like, come on. That's a country's not not all countries are made equal. We're watching the Olympics every 4 years.
To that point though, so a lot of people, like I would be reading through the comments on different niche, whether it be throws or jumps pages, and they would say, I cannot believe that the United States is not taking all three of our top three to go. And the response comments would be, well, it's a global event. There's a lot of people in the world that are better than this person, And again, it's internet. Obviously, hey, it's the Olympics. It's the best of the best around the world that play according to the rules set by the Olympic Committee. Yep. And I did not get top 32, so I am at home right now.
I love the humility. So I have a question. So say you and I both on some random Saturday, you go to a OW meet. I go to an E meet, right?
Yeah.
You get dead last. I break the world record, even it would probably be the opposite. Let's switch that. I get dead last. You break the world record. I still get more points because of the meet that I was at?
Pretty much, yeah. I wasted not only my effort and energy and preparation in throwing a world record at this E-level meet, I wasted a ton of money probably.
And so here's the thing that's crazy. So it's like, say like I'm a shot putter and I'm like a borderline elite shot putter, and I can somehow get into an A meet where Joe Kovacs and Ryan Krauser are throwing. I know I'm going to get annihilated, but I throw a PR and it's nowhere near them. I'm going to get a ton of points because the competition was that high there. That to me, like, it makes sense. But then again, you can differentiate that, but you can't differentiate countries in a national level meet. Like, that to me makes no sense.
Listen, that is right up Alex's league there. Like, you get more points because they're doing better. That is up your league.
It is. There's a meritocracy there, yeah. But at the same time, it's kind of like, So but this is why we need a better league and a promotion to look at these rankings like the UFC and say, our fights are the best fights. I don't care about Bellator. I don't care about, fighting whatever, the TFL. If it's UFC, it's the best in the world. And because they've done that, this is the standard. That's what Diamond League has kind of done. We need Michael Johnson's league to sit there at this point, kick in the door and say, the championship in my league is the champion of the world, and I don't care what anybody else says. Well, and that's what we need there.
We don't have to bring up Michael Johnson's league to a thrower. All right. We don't.
No. You know what? We will, because I am very excited. I
we will.
For this to prosper. It's so great for the sport. And I really I think it was Joe Kovacs put out a post or reposted a story just saying people are complaining, hey, where are the field events? And obviously, yes, I'm a field event athlete. I want to see more exposure for the field events. People are drawn to the sprints. As we saw, everyone sat on the edge of their seat for 5 minutes as the warm-up for the 100-meter dash.
Right.
And
why the hell did it take so long?
No offense, but I don't.
The stadium is glowing all over the place.
And no offense, I don't know if we're gonna get the Netflix series Hammer. I don't know if it's coming out, but it should.
Stay tuned, Dave.
Absolutely. I would watch the hell out of that. I'd watch the hell out of that thing.
The personalities, you guys, the throwers are the nice guys and everything.
They're awesome. They're the
We are.
They're the fun guys.
We will take care of business, and it's entertaining to say the least. Sometimes.
NC-17. That documentary is NC-17 because you know what? I've hung out with country boys and throwers, nice guys, but the things that are said there, God, you might all get canceled. you would all get canceled. Like you would have to sign a waiver to be involved in that, and you would have to go on you can only put that on Kill Tony. That's the only place it can go. I don't know if anybody knows a Kill Tony comedy show, but that's the only place that it could go.
Listen, it was so much fun. Like us distance runners, we got so bold in college, and when we were walking to that party with the shot putters. I'm walking next to Kevin to Giorgio, a 70-foot high school thrower, all right, guys, come and of course it's all the distance guys who are talking all the crap.
Yeah.
But then it's also the same guys that were the throwers were also football players, so they got along with the football players, so nobody messed with each other. They're all cool with each other, and little do we know as the distance runners, it's no one's gonna start any mess with us. They're all friends too.
No. Anyway,
it's real though. It's for the Hammer Throw documentary that will be coming out hopefully within this Olympic cycle. It's so, and like we talked about with Ali, if she was a nanny, I didn't see that on the Olympics, but so many people, they have their Kurt Warner story, they have their their individual stories of all the sacrifices.
That's everybody in track and field.
It's so relatable to everybody just struggling out here that hey, you know what, it is possible for you to make a lot of sacrifices, bet on yourself, and you can succeed. You can do it.
So
people
we
want to immerse themselves in that.
We give you guys permission to use all footage from Talking in Ovals, and we only want 5% each if you make $10 million.
No.
How does that sound?
I just want a cameo, a tiny little
Oh no! I want money if they make $10 million. I feel like that's fair. If they get to $10 million, 5% of $10 million, I think is a fair throw-in.
Screw the cameo.
Ask and you shall receive, right? So Dave, that's what you want. That's probably what maybe what you get.
Then I'll take Dave's 5. Give me 10. No. In all seriousness, though, if you guys do something like that, absolutely use anything from the show. Yeah. Clip anything you want, and I will send you the videos too. I'm not even kidding.
I know the answer to this next question, but
yes.
Will we see Justin Stafford in the U.S. trials in 4 years?
Yes, I am doing everything in my power to continue to train and throw at a high level, and it would be such an incredible experience. And I'm from California. Both my parents are from Southern California. My mom's family's from LA. I went to UCLA. That would mean so much. So I'm doing everything I can in preparing for that.
My goal is to see you out there. Obviously, you go free. I pay a crap ton of money to go out there, but I want to see you out there because my dream is to go out there. Hopefully, we are invited.
We're going to be invited by then. We are going to be there. But my goal for you is also to see a brand on your chest without disclosing too much. Has winning a bronze medal opened up any doors at all in terms of any sponsorships calling you, in terms of wanting to do something with you? Because that carries some weight. You are the third best thrower in the country in the Hammer. Have you gotten any opportunities?
So I would say I'm working. I've represented Tracksmith this year, and I'm so thankful to I've gotten to meet members of the team at Tracksmith. Fantastic people. They ran a really cool. They had a really cool Airbnb that all the Tracksmith athletes could go hang out at. They had food provided. Got to meet other Tracksmith athletes. It was a cool networking event. So I'm really glad I got to wear their gear because it's extremely comfortable. They do a lot for the running community, and I really like how they kind of position themselves in the market. And so, I'm grateful I got to represent them this year. I'm grateful I get to, represent the South Bay Athletic Club that, hey, I'm from. I got to train there last year. Amazing people with the organization. And so outside of that, I'm definitely open to different marketing opportunities, different, working with different brands that I genuinely use and enjoy and, believe in. And so, yes, I know that opportunities are becoming more real. Not going to go much in depth right here.
No need to do this one.
I do know that a top 3 position at the United States track and field Olympic finals does carry more weight. And so I'm definitely excited in kind of seeing what opportunities what other opportunities can arise. Along with who I'm working with right now, again, I'm very fortunate to have a great team, and we want to keep that going because, again, as you guys know, nothing is guaranteed, and when you have something that works, you got to make sure it's working.
Yeah.
So now go ahead, Dave.
Speaking of team, you mentioned something in your response question to us that I was not aware of. Kansas State, there might be some changes going on there, and your coach might not be. Like, I was trying to figure out exactly what you were saying on the email, or.
So there's a new head coach that was brought on, and so it's a new era in Kansas State track and field, and so excited to see how the team does going forward.
All right, so I want to ask you this real quick. So US went through the world ranking system, and you experienced all that. Yeah. In your opinion, is there a better way that this can be done? Is there a better system that you can think of outside of having meets A through E, outside of having OW and GW and performance based and this like that, and level, like a really complicated system that made it probably really difficult for you to figure out how concrete it was, right? Can you think of or maybe suggest a tweak to the system that would maybe make it easier outside of me with the symposium, right? Like something like that what would be your answer to make this situation easier?
Great question. And I do think about this a good amount now. And I really like the system in place today because it really does level the playing field in terms of, hey, if you think that you are one of the best, you are going to perform your best at the best competitions with the other best competitors. And you can't just I think a big reason why this format is put into place is because you can't have people saying, hey, I threw the world record in my backyard and now I'm guaranteed to go to the Olympics. And so it does level the playing field. I know there are a lot of people who are not happy with how this works in terms of getting into these competitions. Ultimately, hey, if you throw far enough, whether it be you threw a distance or you ran a time at an F-ranked meet or A-ranked meet, if you ran a certain time or you threw a certain distance that can get you in, you will likely get into these competitions. And so it does just promote, hey, you have to be good enough to get into these events, into these competitions. The biggest thing would just be athlete education. And I think that this is now changing after the Olympic trials because I'm not the only person who was in this position. There were there were a lot of high-level athletes who are not in Paris right now because of the current world ranking system. For my case, I will just say that I was ignorant of the rules before this past year. Yeah. And so I was not being strategic enough. So for younger athletes out there, make sure that you have people around you who understand the rules and that can kind of guide you in that right direction. And two, just take initiative and read everything on World Athletics because World Athletics is not hiding information.
Right.
It's just a lot of athletes aren't aware that, hey, this works because they think, oh, well, I ran this great time at, my high school, and it's just, hey, that's great, but that's not going to get you into the biggest competitive meets that are going to open up those opportunities for you.
It makes sense. So, and I know that, former guest of the show, Matt Ludwig, who ended up finishing 5th over at the pole vault there, and again, proud of that guy. He's always big on athletes being involved in USATF because the athletes can be involved. There's December meetings. They can go and have a voice. Is that a place to, number one, have you ever been involved? Have you gone to any of those things? And number two, is that also a good place where they will provide you with this type of education if you so seek it? Because obviously USATF is plugged into world rankings. They're a part of that grouping in terms of federations of track and field. And, obviously they work with the IOC, the American Olympic Committee and things like that in order to get all these things together. So is that something you've experienced? If not, is that something you may want to experience? Yeah. And would you say that that's a good spot for these athletes to go? And if you're ignorant, if you don't have somebody around, if you're looking at the world ranking page and you're like, this is Spanish, what am I looking at? Would you recommend that as a good place as a pro who is looking to be in a position that you're in at some point?
Yes. Yeah. And shout out Darren Peters. What's up, Darren?
Yes. Darren's a man.
Darren.
Yes. And
there he is.
To his point, Athlete Education Forum. I have not been to the USATF annual convention yet. I would love to go this year so I can have a greater understanding of, all of the rules, regulations, implications that, USATF is involved in and put out. And so, and I kind of believe that I am going to be going this year.
Good.
And so I would definitely be excited for that.
If we get you a Talking in Oval shirt, will you wear it there?
I will. I will bring that shirt and I will wear it. And so
thank you very much.
More than happy to.
Listen, you know, it's kind of weird. Like, are you following the Olympics? Like, are you still like a fan?
Oh, yeah.
You're
I forced myself to watch the opening ceremonies because I got to wear all the clothes, got it all fitted right.
Beautiful.
And I'm like, I am going to force myself to watch this and just immerse myself in this because this is what I want to do. And so, yes, I've been following all the events, extremely exciting, all the storylines, running, jumps, throws.
Do you agree that this is the hardest, the deepest U.S. team all around? Because like it's hard to find we are so loaded this year because usually, you know, we're lacking in the distance or here, but like you know, watching Great Fish, like we're loaded everywhere. Do you feel that this is the best representation that we've had in this country in quite some time?
Yes. Yeah, I believe it's the deepest. And Darren, thank you very much. Looking forward to catching up. Yes, I think it's the deepest team. And I mean, you just look at the marks of trials and you look at the marks at the Olympic Games. I mean, it was super exciting. I have not met Grant Fisher, but we were in the same tent before a medal ceremony. And so it was really cool to hey, I know who you are. Like you're a ballsy race.
That was a ballsy race, man.
I almost touched that guy.
It was cool. Like, all right, like this is where I want to be because these are the quality of athletes in the room. Absolutely. And I'm working hard for this. And so anyway, to see him get bronze at the Olympics was incredible. Seeing, you know, Noah and Fred get first and third, getting to see, I mean, the list, we're off to a hot start.
Even the way Rudy competed, Rudy worked his ass off and competed so well. What did he finish? Fifth? Sixth overall? Sixth, you know, and he was, you know, long shot going in and finished that high. Like, that's fantastic.
So I would not say he's a long shot. But he is consistently one of the top guys in the world. Yeah. And so he put up a good showing. And I mean, it's like the shot put, absolutely incredible with the rain. I don't know if you guys were following that.
We were talking about that. Just honestly, we were saying, like, you know, for the most part, keep the guys on, let the guys and girls compete. But man, they should have pulled them off. They should have pulled them out of there.
After Fabini went down, I'm like, all right. Like, and why did they wait till before the last tour to finally at least towel it off? Like, I don't know.
What a great question. Yeah.
Well, I read that they didn't have squeegees, that they weren't prepared.
Oh, interesting. See, but then again, okay, you have.
How do you not have that stuff?
Yeah. So that's I didn't know that. That is that's unfortunate to hear because you know it rains in France.
They mentioned it as they were getting the medal ceremony. It was John Anderson's like, you know, came out that reason why they didn't stop it, they didn't have squeeze. So they were literally using towels.
I'm sorry. If I'm Ryan Krauser, if I'm Joe Kovacs, I'm looking at these officials and go, not a single one of us are getting in that pit until you guys do your job. You know who we are?
I don't know if they can.
I don't care. Ryan Krauser and Joe Kovacs are shot putting right now, okay? Those are two of the best. Joe Kovacs was Ryan Krauser before Ryan Krauser, winning worlds, and Ryan Krauser was the greatest shot putter of all time. If they would have stood up and imagined and looked at the official and said, not a one of us are getting on that freaking
But if you're Ryan Krauser,
I know a lot of guys did do that.
Ryan Krauser might be like, all right, guys, throw. Like, I already threw 22 meters. Go ahead, guys. Slip away. Go ahead.
But I mean, like, that's something where they're the best athletes on the planet. They need to stand up. They need to, like, and, you know, not to be mean to the officials, but it's one of those things where, Justin, you've probably been in those situations where it's like, guys, we're pushing it a little now. Can we do something about this? Like, we're all going to get hurt here. Like, you know, we're trying to do something here. And you're simpatico with a lot of these officials. You see a bunch of them, right, at the same time. Work?
Like, can you guys give a suggestion or?
Yes, yeah. So as an athlete, you know, there was a meet in Canada I competed in June, and it's raining, and you know, they automatically just went out of their way to brush the circle to, you know, just kind of dry it out. Camera is a little different from shot put, where I don't mind if it's raining because you're on a longer double support throughout, so it's kind of a less likelihood for falling. For the shot put, though, I mean, you got this huge 16-pound ball on your neck, and hopefully your chalk is sticking, you know, that you can keep it there. And it's just, it's definitely a lot more dangerous in the shot put.
And so you guys are rotating on that 1 foot, right, where they're kind of moving their feet.
Yes,
so it's a different type of where there's a lot more of a chance of them to slip, where you guys are just kind of getting that balance on your foot and rotating around that.
Yeah, I mean, like they should, like, it wasn't just damp, it was wet.
It was.
Huddling.
So do they look for you guys to make those suggestions to be like, hey, the circle's really not good right now. Like, can we do something? Like, is that because they're not in there in that circle doing it, right? They can only go feel it, but they're not putting their feet in that circle. And
so athletes are the ones who are going to make the call of, hey, we believe that this is not safe. We want to make a change here, so we're going to do that. So I saw that guys were doing that before this. I think guys were doing it beforehand, but we saw it on TV on Peacock that, they were telling the officials before the 6th round, hey, we have to fix this. And
see, you know that because you're looking and you're probably seeing the body language, so you're understanding it. To the layman, we're probably looking at it going, oh, we have no idea. But you're probably understanding that as a fellow thrower going, good, guys, good. Tell them that this needs to be fixed.
And listen, Kovacs would not have gotten second if they didn't dry that off. I'm convinced.
Oh, no, Kovacs is Kovacs.
Oh, no. Listen, he's capable, but everyone was just so tentative. It was such a hard area to throw. I'm glad
he did in the rain, and he threw that huge throw on the slippery circle, the 6th round of his 3rd Olympics at 35 years old. That's incredible.
But they had dried it off. I'm saying, I don't know if they hadn't dried it, if he would have been even capable of, if he would have been even able to, because it was
and so Justin,
wet.
This is one thing I love about you.
Then it would have been Joe.
I want to bring up this because out of the blue, we also Joe Kovacs do that ridiculous bench press, and all I know is I get an Instagram story from you this is insane, and I'm and I love that you're just such a fan of everything that goes on. It's incredible.
Of Joe doing the high, is that really him doing?
Was that actually him?
Sorry, was that actually him doing the benching or
the high bar?
The high bars. Have you seen this?
I did. I know what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, from Chula Vista, I think.
That's the greatest feat of athleticism I think that I've ever seen. He's a monster, and he's going around a high bar. It's absolute insanity. Well, first of all, he's the strongest man, I think, in the sport.
Yeah, I would say so. Benching 770 pounds for multiple reps.
And I love that his wife is his coach. I love that.
So quickly, I want to throw in Darren over here. Darren always with wealth of information. Yes. As a national level official, we also discuss this with the safety referee who makes a call for equipment needed at the throws event, and if the event is safe. Darren, you are just a treasure. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
But we appreciate that insight of you coming in there at that, because obviously it's a team effort, right? It's a team effort, and I'd imagine as you get the higher level you go, the more the officials will trust the opinions of the athletes. Even if a hurdler is there and they're taking their practice and they go to our official and say, hey, something ain't right with this going on. We got there's the communication. Again, you guys probably see each other over and over and over.
You would hope that
better to have that good relationship, right?
You would hope that there's that good communication, that you don't have a pompous official who's in it for themselves. I'm sure that they are out there, just like every other sport. But you would hope that you had
some Angel Hernandez in the fields events.
You would hope that you had that positive rapport, because you're all on the same page. You all want the same thing. You all want.
And too, you got to give a lot of credit to a lot of these officials, because it's a volunteer position. That's an incredible sacrifice you're making to help other people help achieve their dreams.
Wonderful.
So it's definitely better always to have those good positive relationships. And it's track and field. It's not the NBA or the NFL, and I think it has potential. I think the United States is making great momentum with Olympic sports, as you guys saw with women's water polo, Flavor Flav, and Michelle Kwan with USA Women's Rugby. That's so much more investment that a lot of these athletes, like I said, have their for example, Kurt Warner's story of, I know women's water polo players, they were saying, hey, some of the girls are working 2 to 3 jobs just to do this. And they are 3-time defending Olympic gold medalists.
Yeah.
Well, Alex and I were just talking. We loved how earlier in the week, Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, they're going to give $50,000 any American breaks world record. So they're already splitting $50,000 for the mixed 4x4.
Right.
But it's awesome, but it also kind of sucks that they have to, that they feel the need that they have to because of what is actually being paid.
Yeah, I have, and hopefully I'm right. I just have a strong feeling that the United States is going to continue to perform at an extremely high level, as everyone's prepared to do so. And people are just going to see, and they're going to learn more stories, and they're going to hear about these athletes who are, in a lot of cases, unfortunately struggling to make ends meet, to perform, to literally be the best in the world at what they do and represent their country at the highest levels. And we need more support is needed here.
So Justin, get more of your friends to jump on our show, and not of a selfish thing too, because that's kind of our mission, right? The more I would love to get more throwers that are in a similar situation, or even if anyone you know in the pro world that is going through something you guys are going through, because you're all in the same boat, right? You're all sitting there going, "Oh, how's your day job going? Oh, all right, yeah, you're still working there. All right. Oh no, you went to that new place. Oh, okay. It's already half the time. It's like, how's training? Okay, how's work? Like, and that's got to be a ridiculous conversation to be having with a bunch of other pros. So I actually think that we have a secondary mission, Dave. We got to get our pro national level officials paid, because I think they should be paid as well. If you are sitting there giving up your time, going to New York Grand Prix, putting on as what, because the thing is, we've talked to meet directors. I want to get more meet directors on. It is a really hard thing to run a meet at a high school level. Imagine how hard it is to run a pro level meet where you're also dealing with sponsors and what they want and what this group wants and what that team needs and what XY needs, and
expenses, because there's so much more things coming out with technology that all these meets have to be.
So I think we have also, outside of getting our pro athletes paid, we need to get our pro officials paid. We need to get our meet directors at least recognized. I don't think our meet directors aren't paid with our major meet ones. I'm pretty sure they're getting paid, but at least know who they are.
Yeah.
Right? We know who producers and directors are in movies. So it's like, why don't we know our producers and directors of track and field? Essentially,
as a post-collegiate athlete, it helps a lot more when you know who the meet directors are.
Yeah.
If you make those connections, that helps you get into meets. And so that's something that's definitely important and not really talked about.
So that's something that I think we need to do. And Justin, I just think that you are such an incredible ambassador for the sport. I would love to sit there and get a nice conglomerate of throwers. We already have a good amount of you guys. And we need to come back and we need to get like 5 or 6 of you and do a nice throwing roundtable where we just have a bunch of you guys on and we just talk everything throwing. And we just have a great time talking about it, talking about the sport. And I just think it would be an absolute blast. So
I want to be educated. I want to learn.
Yeah. It's so much fun. You have right now probably been the second most educational show, and probably a little more, because between you and Eric Sawinski. With Eric Sawinski, we found out about the whole ranking system and how in-depth it gets. Because he was talking about being, he was the best pacer on the planet and he was barely making ends meet. Basically paying as much money and getting paid just to get out there and maybe get it. Like, it's ridiculous, right?
And as a pacer, you're on camera more than anybody.
Who doesn't know who Eric is? Right? It doesn't matter what event you're in. You know who Eric is. He has the beautiful hair. But on top, and he's amazing. But, on top of that, like, you getting more into depth about the ranking system and how it is. And I think that's also a fun part about this is as you're getting these stories, as we're talking about your amazing experience at trials, we're getting a little bit of an education because people know how the NBA scoring system works. People are psychos for stats in NBA scoring, baseball. Why not us? Why can't we know how?
There's so much storytelling potential with track and field statistics.
And we want to tell them all.
Yes. Yeah.
We want that, damn it.
Yeah. And so, again, thank you guys so much. Every single time, it's such a blast. I enjoy how it's very, it's just a lively, fun podcast every time. And that's awesome. It's what the sport needs. And two, again, thank you so much to Tracksmith for the South Bay Athletic Club and also to the USATF Foundation, who, they have done so much for me now this last year with Operation Hammer Sweep. And I'm so fortunate and grateful to be a recipient of an elite development, elite athlete development grant, which will be a huge, massive help.
No one deserves it more than you, man.
Thank you. And, so many people deserve it. And it's I know that a lot of people would say every athlete who performs well at these major meets deserves one. And I agree that, hey, everyone needs to, we're all doing the best we can. And so to receive any support is greatly appreciated. But again, I just want to make sure that the listeners are aware the USATF Foundation is a fantastic organization that does so much great work to help the athletes. They get funding to the athletes directly very fast, and it's just greatly appreciated. Also, obviously, hey, USATF, thank you guys for the opportunity and setting up these great meets to allow athletes like myself to get the opportunity to represent the USA. For me, I'm preparing to do so, and we just keep it rolling. Grow the sport. It's important.
So also, I want to give you a chance to give a shout out to yourself for you want to, get out there and do more speaking engagements in terms of talking with teams, talking with things like that. And you have a fantastic story. You are a collegiate level champion. You are a former UCLA Bruin. You are a bronze medalist at the Olympic trials. So you want to do more speaking engagements, talk about what you want to do and who can get in contact, how to get in contact with you about doing these speaking engagements.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I think would be a good avenue, at least for something that I'm passionate about. You know, I enjoy public speaking. I love coming on a podcast, talking with great guys like yourselves. And, you know, if I can get to, you know, I think to myself, like, okay, I'm a post-collegiate athlete. I'm a volunteer assistant coach at a Division I university. That takes up a lot of time. How else can I be most useful as an athlete with the skill set I have? And I think ultimately, hey, you're probably the most helpful to your former self. So if I get the opportunity to talk to collegiate athletes and teams, high school athletes and teams, of like, hey, if this is something you want to do, I can help provide a roadmap, some knowledge, information, and hopefully be, you know, someone who can maybe lead you in the right direction on that. You know,
I love that you want to be a mentor. I just love that you want to be a mentor. Yeah,
just a hell of a guy, man.
Yeah.
Like what you do, and like just the humility and the humbleness. I mean, you deserve everything that you've gotten. I cannot wait to see what happens in these next 4 years. Now that you know that you have to go to these ABC meets,
yes,
you're all set.
And for anyone that's looking for a speaking engagement, number one, go back and listen. If you're interested in trying to figure out why you should have Justin on, go back and listen to the episode that we had with him a little while ago when me and him talked and he told his story. And then also bring back this one as, you know, it's Dave and I being cocky for Justin. Like, we are the ones that are cocky for him. Like, Justin is as humble and down to earth as someone. He's a stud. Look at him. He's a good looking dude too. Like, get him out in front of people. Let him speak. And definitely, you know, he deserves it. And he'll be as inspirational for your team. And then if it's a football team, you could just take a helmet by the mask and just launch it like a hammer halfway across the field, and then tell the kid to go pick it up. And just, you know, a little bit of bullying doesn't hurt. Anyway, we don't promote bullying on the show. Just kidding. Anyway, we appreciate anyone and all that listens. Now, we asked you last time how we can improve the sport, right? And have you advanced any positions after now going through Olympic trials, experiencing that type of a meet where there is a microscope on you, national level, things going on. You can be watched individually by millions of people on a streaming service. Like, after experiencing that, do you have any sort of new ideas on how we can get more casuals out here?
Getting more casuals would definitely be education, entertainment. You know, I like how certain individuals are being talked about a lot more in comments who maybe they're winning medals. You know, just people grabbing other people's attention, like people just doing stuff that's grabbing, it's marketing, right? So anyway, I think that a lot of people are doing a very good job of that. And I just think, again, it kind of just comes down to the athlete and their own personal stuff. Like I told you, I may or may not be getting on Twitter. We'll see.
You better be.
Maybe I should be now.
More Snoop, right? More Snoop.
More Snoop. I mean, hey, it's bringing more people to the sport.
Where's RG3 and Emmanuel Acho? Why are they not there? They talk about the sport more than anybody in major sports media.
NBC.
Okay, we need more crossovers.
Yeah, RG3 is great.
Like, hey, and we can start throwers and runners, like you said. You know, college parties. You know, you bring the runners to the parties because, you know, the throwers, we know the bouncers and everything. And so,
well, how about this? Justin is going to challenge any NFL athlete to a hammer throw.
Oh, easy.
Right now. Any NFL athlete, and then, you know, a lot of those guys were probably former studs in, you know, high school and college. So any throwing apparatus, discus, shot, whatever you want to do, because I'm pretty sure Justin's damn well elite, if not borderline at all those at your level. So
Justin would probably help him and coach him.
He just says he would coach him up first.
I will coach them and help them get to a point where they're like, you know what, I am confident I can beat you, and then I will destroy them.
So we will challenge. I love it. So we're putting that challenge right now. And you know what? Actually, I have someone that, you know, we both know, a mutual friend. Maybe we can get this hooked up, even if it's a retiree, where we can get somebody to throw against you. And I would freaking love that. So let's do it. The challenge, the gauntlet is laid down right here. Any retired NFL or current NFL athlete that wants to sit there and try and outthrow Justin, bring it on.
Yep.
And let's put it on. Let's stream it all over YouTube, Twitch, everywhere. Let's set it up. Let's do some stories. We'll do some interviews. We'll get it going, and then we will make sure we watch you dismantle them.
Let's do it.
Hey, And if Tyreek Hill wants to come and race Nia, no allows. Bring
Simone Biles will be Tyreek Hill, okay? The way Simone Biles runs, how fast she's going to that freaking horse. I swear to God, she can run like a 10-5.
She's incredible.
I want to see her sprint. I want to see Simone set up in blocks and sprint. I am sure she's a sub 1100 woman. I'm not even kidding.
It's just fast. But that's another thing too with the Olympics is that you see this, the crossovers and every athlete getting to know each other from different sports, and you never know who's going to see what, and different opportunities can come up. So I think that's a great place to start. Of hey, we're all the high level track and field athletes. Everybody's got friends who did high level sports and high level. They compete at a high level in other sports.
Yep. So we got to do this. We got to set up. So once again, he is Justin Stafford. We appreciate you coming on, brother. Follow him on Instagram at Justin M Staff. He is going to get an X. We are going to bully him into getting an X. I do promote bullying in that sense, but we are going to get him on there because you need to make your presence bigger. You are, like I said, fantastic ambassador for the sport. I really want you to go December, and after December, come back and report to us about the meeting. Let us know, kind of give us some inside scoop about because there's a lot of different things with rule changes and things they talk about and things that you guys are talking about that they want your opinion. So we would love for you to come back and talk to us. And again, you're always welcome on this show. Anytime, if you have anything you need to get off your chest, anything you want to announce, even if you want some free promotion, please just send it to me. I will happily get it out there. You're a friend of the show, so we absolutely appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Always appreciate coming on. Always a blast. And hopefully we'll be talking soon.
Definitely. Hopefully, so once again,
if this works, if this Justin versus I'm fixated now on this Justin versus the NFL Hammer thing now. This could be just awesome.
We're gonna see if we can make it work. We're gonna see if we could do it. So once again, we are talking in ovals. Go follow us on all the socials. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, X, we appreciate you all. Like, share, follow, subscribe, all the above. Spread this word with everybody that you know. And we'll be back next week with another fun show. As always, everybody, thank